Yes everyone, and welcome to day 2 of our capacity lesson. So today we're going to recap on the vocabulary that we looked at yesterday, and then we're going to move on to accurately or unaccurately measuring capacity using non-standard measurement. Okay, so let's get started. First of all, let's recap on what we looked at yesterday, which was vocabulary. So if we have a look at the 3 glasses in front of you, 1, 2 and 3, you can tell me how they might describe this glass. Okay, I'm going to show you that it has nothing in it. What could we say about that glass? It is, and this glass, number 2, what could we say about that one? And finally, what could we say about this glass here? Okay, what words could we use to describe those 3 glasses? Well, you might say for number 1 that it is empty because it's got nothing in it. You could say for number 2 that it is full because, well, nearly full, very much up the top, but I would say that was full because I'm going to spill it everywhere. And then this one, you've got 2 choices. You can either say, well, it's nearly empty really, isn't it? Okay, because if it was a bit higher, it would be half full or half empty. For the moment, it's nearly empty. Okay, so well done for our recap. Moving on. Okay, our next bit, we're going to look at non-standard measurement. Okay, what that means is if we were going to try and measure how much these glasses and cup could hold, what kind of things could we use to measure with? Okay, have a think at home. When you're talking with your adult about measurement, what kind of things come to mind? What do you think of? Have I said, right, go and measure that table right now, or go and measure the size of the house, go and measure the length of your arm? What kind of things would you use to measure with? Okay, so you might have things like a ruler. Miss Talbot doesn't seem to have one today, okay, but a ruler we use for measuring length, okay? You might have a tape measure, which is also used for measuring length or width, okay? When it comes to capacity, we use things like measuring jugs, which you might have at home for cooking, or you might have a set of scales for measuring weight, okay? So have a think with your adult, what kind of devices or things at home do you use for measuring? Okay, it might be measuring weight, it might be measuring capacity, and it might be used for measuring length or width. Okay, but today we're going to use something called non-standard measurement, okay? It just means it's a way of us measuring without having to use a specific measuring device. Okay, so in front of me I have 3 different sized glasses, okay? And I also have 3 different sized spoons. Actually, I've got 4. Okay, and we're going to use these spoons to help us measure capacity of these cups here, okay? And I'm also going to use rice today to help fill our cups, because I think water is just a little bit too messy, but by all means use water or juice at home if you would like to, okay? So let's move on. What you will need is a piece of paper, and what we're going to do is we're going to split that paper into naming our cups first of all, 1, 2 and 3, okay? Like that on your sheet of paper, cups 1, 2 and 3. So I'm going to make this number 1, this number 2 and this number 3, okay? And I'm also going to have a name or a label for our spoons, and I've got 4, so I'm going to call them A or A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, okay? So on your sheet, I would like you to write 1, 2, 3 and then A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, okay? And they're going to be the names of our spoons, okay? I'm going to even write on this one so I remember. This one's A, B, C, D. Okay, we're going to get bigger and bigger, I think. And I'm just going to draw some lines on mine. Okay, get your adult to help you with this. What we're going to do is we're going to see how many spoonfuls of rice it takes to fill our cups. Okay, so first of all, what I would like you to do in your head is make an estimation. What that means is a guess of how many spoonfuls of rice you think it's going to take to fill one of our glasses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my first cup. Okay, and I'm going to start with my first spoon. So this is the size of my spoon here, and if I fill it, okay, don't know if you can see very well, but that is a full spoonful of rice. Okay, if I put one in, that's how full my cup is. So have a guess, how many spoonfuls this size do you think it will take to fill my cup? Okay, so this is spoon A, spoon A. How many spoonfuls do you think it'll take to fill that cup? That is 1 spoonful. How many more spoonfuls do you think? Have a guess. And make it a realistic guess, okay? So you know it's not going to take 100 spoonfuls to fill that, but it's also going to take more than 1. So how many do you think? If you want, write down. So I think it might take, let's say I think it might take 5. That's my guess. So I'm going to write down my little guess in the corner of my sheet, okay? So I've got 5 as my guess for cup 1 with spoon A, okay? So you might need an adult to help you out with this because I know tables can be a little bit confusing, okay? But I am now going to see how many it's going to take. So that's 1 spoonful, and I'm going to speed it up, and then I'm going to say how many spoonfuls it's taken. So there's A, 1. I think I'm going to leave it there because I know that if I try to put another one it would overflow. Okay, so there's my cup. It is full and it has taken only 4 spoonfuls. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. So cup 1 with my first spoon, my guess was 5 and my right answer was 4. So I was quite close. I wasn't a million miles away. Okay, but what we're going to do now is I'm going to put that back and we're going to try now with a different spoon. Okay, so I've got spoon B, which is a little bit smaller. Okay, so I'm going to put 1 spoonful in. That is 1 spoonful using our second spoon, spoon B. But okay, so this is my second spoon now. So this is still my first cup, but it's now my second spoon. So first of all, I need to make a guess. So there's 1. Let's say 15? Do you think that's a reasonable guess? Or should I put 20? Or should I put 30? Should I put 50? How many do you think might go in there? So have a guess. How many spoonfuls using this spoon do you think it's going to take to fill my cup? Okay, so let's have a guess. Speed it up now. So 1. So there is my cup filled, not to the brim, but filled the same amount as before. And it actually took 24 little spoonfuls to fill my cup. 24. Okay. Empty it out again. Okay, so this is about estimating. Okay, having a good guess, but then having a realistic guess within that. Okay, so for example, I knew it was not going to take just 2 to fill that. I know it was definitely going to be more than 2, but I knew as well it wasn't going to take 1,000. Okay, so make a realistic guess when you're going. So we're going to do a last one for this cup. Okay, I'm going to use this one here. This is actually more like a spatula spoon. Okay, and it's a lot bigger. So I'm going to show you how many, all over my table. There's 1. 1 spoonful. Using C. So how many do you think it will take to fill that cup? This is C. I think, and you have a guess as well, I think it's only going to take 2. Maybe a little bit more, but I think it's only going to take 2. Let's find out. There's 1. Let's add another one. It's more on the table than there is in the cup. Right. I would say that's nearly full, but I know that if I try to put a third one in, it's not going to work. So I'd say 2 and a bit. Okay, so I'm going to write that on. I'm going to write 2 and I'm going to put a little plus sign next to it that says actually it would take just a little bit more than 2. Okay. What I'm going to do now is I'm not going to do the last spoon. Okay, I'm going to show you using a different cup now. Okay, something a little bit bigger. And we're going to make this cup 2, okay? So on our sheet, we're going to our second cup now, okay, which is this one here. Now usually I do all of them, but I'm going to stick with my first spoon again. So this is spoon A. And first of all, we're going to find out how much one is to give us an idea. Fill that there. That is 1 spoonful of rice. So how many more do you think it'll take to fill that cup? Okay, so let's have a look. 1, I'm going to try and guess. 2, 3, 4, I think maybe 7 is my realistic guess. Would it only take 2 to fill that? Is that a realistic guess? What about 50? Would it take 50 spoonfuls to fill that? Probably not. Okay, so we're going to find out now how many it takes to fill my cup. That's 1. And there is our cup filled. And it did take 7 spoonfuls to fill that cup. Okay? So we're getting a little bit better now at estimating. Okay, so we moved on to a different spoon now. Okay, remember when we did this one with this cup, it took 24 spoonfuls to fill that cup. So it's probably going to take a little bit more to fill this cup. Okay, and if you're good with your halving, maybe you can have a guess what it might be, or you're doubling. Okay, so we have our cup, and that is 1 spoonful in that cup. Okay, so let's have a guess. I'm going to think it's going to be about double the other one, double this cup. So I'm going to say, well, roughly double. I'm going to say 40. I don't think it'll quite be 48, but I'm going to say 40 to fill this cup. Okay, and exactly like you did before, make a good guess, a realistic guess, estimate, and then we're going to fill this cup as well. Okay, so remember that capacity is the maximum amount that will fill an object. Okay, so or maximum that something can contain. Okay, so the maximum amount of spoonfuls of rice that this can contain will be its capacity. Okay, so there's 1. Let's speed it up. So there's 20 so far. $30. Okay, here's our glass full. Okay, and it actually took very, very closely 41 scoops to fill that glass. Okay, so what you should have on your board, okay, is a guess and then your correct answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to circle what the right answer was. Okay, without estimating. And what I'd like you to do at home is fill in the rest of that table. Okay, so use different sized cups. Okay, I had a small coffee cup and I also had a larger glass there as well. Okay, have a think though when you're doing this that I thought that roughly that this would be double the amount that this cup is, but this cup is wider than this one, so I knew it wasn't going to be exactly double. Okay, because this one's a little bit thinner. I don't know if you can see. This one's quite a slim cup and this one's quite a thick cup. Okay, so have a think about that when you are estimating as well. Okay, right, tomorrow we're going to move on again and we're going to have a think about our perfume. Okay, remember we are in Spain at the moment in our topic, so we're going to maybe have a think about Paco Rabanne, a Spanish fashion designer, and maybe look at creating some perfume for his lineup, okay, using our capacity knowledge. Okay, so have a think about that as well, and I will see you again tomorrow.